Hello everyone, welcome to our comprehensive guide to learning C programming through examples. In this video, we will cover multiple fundamental concepts in C, starting from Hello World all the way to basic arithmetic operations and more. Whether you are new to programming or looking to refresh your skills, this video will guide you through step by step. So the first programming will be the simple most Hello World. This is the simple most programming that can be done. We start by including the standard input-output library using the hash include stereo.h. Hash include stdio.h. This is a directive. This library is essential for performing input and output operations in C, such as printing text to the console, etc. Now we will define the main function. We define the main function because the main function is the entry point of every C program. When you run a C program, the execution starts from the main function. So how we will write it? We will write it int main bracket and bracket close, then the function's body start. So we will simply write the printf function, which is inbuilt function. So printf function inside this double quotation, then whatever we have to print, like hello world, this. So inside the main function, we use the printf function to print the message hello world to the console. The printf function comes from the stdio.h library that we included at the beginning. We have to know that after every statement we will have to write a semicolon. Until the semicolon is not there, uh, the function will not execute. The statement will not be treated as complete. So the semicolon is necessary. Next thing is return 0 and semicolon. So this return 0 line indicates that the program has ended successfully. In C, the main function returns an integer value to the operating system. Returning 0 usually signifies that the program executed without any errors. So now we can simply we can for compiling you can press F9, and for running F10. So first you have to compile, then you have to run. So F9 and F10. Otherwise you can directly do compile and run together just by pressing the single key F11. So I'm gonna press F11. So now you can see the result, the output. The output is showing hello world. Now what we can do is, like, inside the print instead of this, or we can just copy this printf, control C, and then control V. Now suppose we want to write hello instead of hello world. I want to write engineers avenue. Engineers avenue, right? So engineers avenue. Now see what does it print. Just press F11. Now it is printing hello world and engineers avenue. By this way you have understood how to execute this hello world program. Now we can move on to the next one, which one is basic arithmetic operations in C. So first we have to first I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna rename this. So basic arithmetic operations. operations. Now I'm gonna write this program. So to start with, we will start with the hash include studio.h. That is the essential part. Hash include, then stdio.h. Then we can start to write main function. int main. Then the main body starts here. Inside the main, it's inside the body of the main function. We will declare and initialize the variables. In this particular program, we are going to define and give the values of the variables inside this program itself, but in the further or subsequent programs, we will be able to see that we can define, we can take the variables as a user input also. So let us start with this. We are defining the type of the variable as integer int, then the name of the variable a, and I'm putting suppose the value as 10. Then also I'm defining one more variable of integer type b, that is I'm putting the value as 5, and then this semicolon. Now I'm also defining, since this is a basic arithmetic operation, what we have to do, we have to find the sum, difference, product, and quotient. So I'm going to define integer type of these variables: sum, difference, then product, then quotient, quotient, then semicolon. Now we can perform arithmetic operations in C to do the summation. Like in output in this variable sum, I want to store the value of a. I want to add a plus b, and then the value of that a plus b I want to store in sum variable. So for doing that, I'm simply writing sum is equals to variable a plus variable b. What this statement is doing is, it is taking the value of a, adding that with the value of b, and putting that in the value of sum. So this is how the arithmetic operation is happening. Similarly, we can define difference is equals to it is not is equals to, it is said to be assign. Assign means assigning the value. So a minus b. Next, product is equals to a multiplied by b, semicolon. Next, quotient QUO is equals to a slash b. Now we have already done the arithmetic operations. We want to print the results. So again the same printf function will be used. Printf, then double quotation, then we want to write on the screen that sum, semicolon. Here the summation value will be kept. So for that, %d symbol is used for integer type of output. So again the new line will be okay. Then sum. What we are doing is, if we want to put any value inside a statement, in the double quotient we will write for integer we will write %d, and outside that whatever integer that we want to put, the variable name of that integer should be kept. So here in this statement, what we are doing is, we are printing sum, semicolon, then %d, that is sum, the value, whatever value there is in the sum, that will be printed. Similarly, we can write for others. So we are gonna write control V, control V, and control V. We are gonna change it in it little bit. So the second one is difference. Difference %d, here difference value DIFF. Okay, the next will be product product percent D because it is also an integer, and PROD product. The last one will be quotient. So QUOPIENT quotient. What value? Quotient QU quotient value will be kept. Now again we are returning 0. Return 0. Now we can run this program. So upon running, let's see what happens. F11. So we can see, since we have already defined given the value of a and b inside this program itself, so we can see that a plus b summation is a plus b, that is 10 plus 5 should be 15, and the output is coming as 15 only. Difference should be a minus b, that is 10 minus 5, and that is 5, that is correct. Product should be a cross b, that is 10 cross 5, that is 50. Okay, quotient will be a divided by b, that is 10 by 5, that is 2. Okay, so our results are correct. Now we have completed this program. Now we can move on to the next coding, and that will be our simple calculator. So how we will write the simple calculator? We will create a basic calculator program that takes user input for two numbers and an operator, that is plus, minus, multiply or divide, then perform the corresponding arithmetic operation. We are going to define two numbers that we are going to take from the users. So integer type, for integer type we are starting with int, and the variable name I'm keeping it as num1 and num2. Since I'm gonna take this from users, I'm not gonna write the value inside it. I'm not gonna assign any value. And we are also gonna define, since this operator plus minus and all are not of integer type, they are character type, we are going to define character type data, character, and op means operator I'm defining here. So the next part will be, we will take user input. How to take? First I'm gonna print on screen that enter first number. So how? Printf bracket close double quotation enter first number. So we are gonna write this on screen, semicolon. Then we are gonna scan the value whatever user is going to give. So scan f bracket. Then we are going to take integer type value for this. So for integer type value we are going to use %d. And for storing any values inside any variable, we first write ampersand, then variable name ampersand num1. I'm going to take that value and keep it in num1. This completes. Similarly, we can write this for operator, like we are gonna write a statement print f enter operator, enter operator, operator. So they are going to either plus, minus, or whatever desired. I'm again going to scan it, but here is a difference. This time we are not going to take integer type of data but character type of data, and for that we will use %c, %c, and we are again going to ampersand, keep it in operator, op, operator variable name whatever you have given. Now we can take the second number as well. For that we have to make a slight change in the first one. Enter second num here, second num, and here num2. First we will write switch. It is an inbuilt function. Switch under this op operator variable and whatever you have taken, then this function will simply start. So inside this we can write, so inside this we can start with case. Under switch we start with case. There will be several cases that need to be checked. For the first one, if the user inputs plus value, plus operator, then what will happen? So for that, what will happen is we will simply print on the screen, print result. result Result should be integer type result, %d. For that purpose, in sum what we will do, we will do num1 plus num2 and put that value in the result for plus case. So this case completes here. If the case is this plus, then we need not to go for other cases. We simply can break out from the function and the result will be printed. And suppose if this is not the case, so we can go and check for another case. Minus, inside this you can simply write so we can simply write result %d num1 minus num2, because here we are going to print this. This is not the, if this is the case, it can break out from the loop, from this switch. Otherwise it will check for another case, and that will be your multiplication case. And for that, this will happen, multiplication. And if this is also not satisfied, if there is another case, then we will go and check this case. And if this case is satisfied, we can come out of it. Otherwise, but here is a twist. While dividing any value, means num1 by num2, we have to check that whether the num2 is 0 or non-zero, because we cannot divide any value by 0. So here we have to make two cases inside this division. First, so for that we can use if else statement. So suppose we are starting with if, so we are checking is inside the if we are checking num2 should not be equal to 0. If it is not equal to 0, then only it is divisible. So the result will be this. Otherwise what can happen is, else what can happen, else we have to print error message, because it cannot be divided by 0. So we can print an error message, printf. Inside the result, we can write error division by 0. Error, what error it is? It is division by 0, which is not possible. So we can write this message, and this message will be printed out if someone try to divide something by 0. So it will end with semicolon, otherwise it will break. And suppose if it is not all of the four cases, plus minus multiplication and division, and user try to give something else in operator, then what will happen? By default it should print some other message, some error message that you are not giving the right operator. So in default, printf, again error message. Inside the error message, can write invalid operator. Now we can run this program, semicolon. We can run this program, but before that we have to end it with this zero, return zero. So return zero, we must not forget return zero. Now this program completes. Now we can run F11. So it is our simple calculator. Let's rename it simple calculator. Calculator. Let's keep it C only. Save it. Okay, so let us start with percent %C. Uh, enter first number 2. Enter operator. In operator we are entering plus. Then we are entering 1. We can see now that it is working fine. So first num 2 operator plus, and then I entered the second num 1, then result is coming as 2 plus 1 is equals to 3. But now suppose we are trying to that divide it by 0. We want to check whether it is working or not for that division by 0. So we can write first num 2, then division sign, then we can write 0, then see, this is showing error division by 0. So we have been successful in this. And one more thing we can try, that if we are not using all of those 4 operators, but we are using some other operator or thing, like suppose 5, then operator we are using the power operator, and for that we are taking 3 power. So it is whatever it is writing error invalid operator. So our simple calculator program is successful, as we can see here. The next segment of this video is about grade classification. When a teacher suppose is doing grading, suppose how his grading is, if a student gets marks greater than 90 or equal to 90, then he gives A. And suppose if it is between 75, including 75 to 90, then he gives B grade. If it is including 50 to 75, then grade B, and if it is 35 to 50, then grade C, and if the student gets less than 35, then suppose he gives fail, F grade. First we have to define whatever we are going to take, the user in that we are going to take, that will be integer type, and the variable name will be marks. We are taking marks from the user. Now how to take the user input? We know printf and scanf has to be used. How? We are writing printf bracket double quotation, then enter your marks, your marks. Then this statement happens, then semicolon, then you have to scan this, scanf, again same. And since marks is of integer type, so we will write percent %d, then comma, then ampersand to receive ampersand in variable name marks, sorry, variable name marks, then semicolon. Now the next step should be, we have how do we classify the grade based on the marks? So we can use the if else if statement. So let's see how can we use, how we can use f. uh, first first condition should be if marks are greater than or equal to 90, then what happens? If this happens, then what happens? If this happens, then uh, printf, we will directly print the grade, whatever grade it is. For this condition we should give grade A. Now if this condition does not satisfy, and it comes under, it will check for next condition, else if. Since there are multiple conditions, so it will not simply be else and if and else. There should be else if also. So else if will be used. Else if under this, else if the condition that is being checked is for the marks should be greater than or equal to 75. So marks greater than or equal to 75. For this condition, we have to assign grade B. We have to assign grade B. So we will just print F, then double quotation, grade B, new line. Similarly, we can give grade C and D. Control V, Control V. So if marks are greater than 75, then D, and if marks are greater than 50, suppose, if it is greater than 50, then the grade should be C. Similarly, if these are greater than 35, then we can assign grade D. And also last statement should be, since this is the last statement, we will not write else if, we will write else. Else, in else condition, because in else the marks only there is one possibility that marks will be less than 35, and so for this condition the student can be assigned as failed. So printf under this you can assign the grade F that represents fail. At last return 0. Now we can compile and run. So upon compiling and running, there is a prompt, output prompt, enter your marks. Suppose my marks are 67. So what will happen upon pressing enter? It is giving C. So here the condition says that if your marks is between 50 and 75, it should be C. Yes, if your marks are greater than 50, it should be C. So the whatever results are coming, it is okay. We can check for another, like suppose for fail condition we are checking. So suppose my marks are less than 35, suppose my marks are 27, so it should give fail. Yes, it is giving F grade, means fail grade. So this way we can understand this code. Now the next code will be for the calculation of factorial. So how, first we have to understand what is factorial. So factorial of any number, any integer number, is the multiplication of subsequent multiplications of that number till 1. Means if the factorial of 3 is calculated, we have to multiply 3 by 2 by 1. If the factorial of 5 is calculated, we have to multiply 5 by 4 by 3 by 2 by 1. Similarly, if we have to multiply the factorial of any integer number n, so we have to multiply n multiplied by n minus 1 multiplied by n minus 2 up to multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1. So this is how the factorial is calculated. Now the next thing is how to write. First we have to include this standard input output header function, so a header function under header file. Now the next part is under main, we can define things, or we can define even the separate function for this factorial calculation. So we are going to do that. We are going to define a function to calculate the factorial. So what we are doing is defining function to so integer type data it is taking, and integer type output it is giving. So we are going to name this function as factorial. So factorial, and it is taking the input integer type of input. And under how now how will we write this function? We are going to write this function as We know that factorial of 0 is 1. So if the number n is 0, equal 0 means equal to 0, then what happens? Then it should give 1, because factorial of 0 is 1. Otherwise, if it is non-zero means greater than 0, so in this case, if it is greater than 0, it should give, so in this case it should return n multiplied by factorial of n minus 1, n multiplied by factorial. So it is kind of recursive, because the function is calling itself inside it. So this way, the this is the complete function of, to calculate the factorial. This entire thing is the complete function for calculation of factorial. We can call this function inside the main function now. So inside the main function, we are going to define integer num, some number integer, some variable named num, type of integer type is defined. Now we are going to ask the user for input. So we are going to print f, we are going to print enter the number. We have to take integer number, enter a number. So this will, now how to scan this? To that we have to write scanf, bracket, double quotation, then %d, because this we are going to take integer type of data inside it, and ampersand num. So this, now we will print the result. How to print the result? Printf statement should be factorial of, suppose factorial of num. We have to write num, since the number is num is variable, so we will write %d is, and the factorial value is also a variable thing, so we have to write %d here also. So the first %d is what? First %d is num, so it will be replaced by num. The second one is factorial value, whatever the result is coming. So we are using factorial function here, factorial of num. This way we can use this factorial function. Now return 0 as it is, return 0. Now this program seems to be complete. Let us run this. So upon running this, suppose we know the factorial of 5. It is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. It should come as 120 when we multiplied 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So it is coming as factorial of 5 is 120. So this way our this function is also complete. Our this program factorial calculation is also complete. Now the next portion, that will be Fibonacci series. The subsequent number should be summation of means previous two. We are going to define the function for Fibonacci. So how to define the function for Fibonacci series? So the same way we are going to define integer type of output will be coming, and we are writing the function name is Fibonacci, and we are taking integer type of input and variable name n. Now the body of this user defined function, so we are putting the condition, if that user input variable is less than or equal to 1, what should happen is it should return n, because if it is less than or equal to 1, only one value will be there, and that will be 1. Fibonacci series starts with 1, then 1, then 1 plus 1 is equals to 2, then 1 plus 2 is equals to 3, then 2 plus 3 is equals to 5, then 3 plus 5 is equals to 8 plus then 8 plus 5 is equals to 13, and so on. So how we can write it? In else statement, if n is greater than equal to 1, then what should happen? Then we have to use we are using this recursively. This is the recursion here, because we are again using the function inside this the same function. So Fibonacci n minus 1 plus again Fibonacci of n minus 2, then semicolon. So this way this function completes. This is the entire function for Fibonacci. This is the user defined function. Now we are going to go under the main function. So under the main function, we will firstly define the integer type. So data type is integer, and the variable name is n, and index, we are for indexing purpose, we are defining integer type of data I, integer type of variable. So now we have to print on the screen, printf. We will print on the screen, enter the number of terms, enter the number of terms. What it is, so it will print into the number on the screen. Then how to take that data, that whatever user inputs, we will use scanf function followed by double quotation. Since integer type of data it is, so %d, and since we are taking it ampersand, where we are putting it n. Now we have taken the data, so we will print simply printf Fibonacci series, then followed by colon, then semicolon, then for. So we are now going to start the loop for I equal to 0 to I is less than n, then I plus plus. This is increment. And for this, in this for loop, inside this for loop, what we will do? We will write a printf function, which will print the values %d, because whatever we will print will be integer. Fibonacci, we are using the function directly here, Fibonacci function. So this way, now outside this for loop, you can again write printf now. Let's see what we have done. Just compile and run. So enter the number of terms. Suppose for 6 term we are going to find. For 6 term, Fibonacci series is 0 1 1 2 3 5. There should be some space so that we can differentiate. So here the space, it was not earlier the space, we are giving space. Now let's try. So six term now. So now it is giving separately 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. But again it is not giving in the new line. Means I want to find it out. The line should be changed after every data. So we can do it like this. The new line can be printed over here only. Let us try. Suppose for 9 terms we are going to print. So it is going to 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. For 9 terms here it is like this only. This way the Fibonacci series is also completed. The next program is for, so we want to find largest element in the array that is being input by the user only. So we will take the user input of different data, means array, and we will find which one is the largest uh, data in that. So for that, to start, we will start with hash include stereo.h. Inside the int main, we will declare the variables. Integer type of variables will be declared because n is the number of integers, so it will be integer type only. Number of data, so it will be integer type only. I is the index, so I will be integer type, and largest number also it should be integer. We are taking it in integer only. So now we will take user input for array size and elements. So how first we will take the size of the elements. So printf enter the number of elements. Enter number of elements. So by this we can give the instruction. So scanf integer type data we are going to take, so %d and comma, then ampersand where we are going to put in n, semicolon. Now we are going to define integer type of data. We have so far defined the number of values index and the largest value variable, but we have to define the variable array. So we are going to define array as integer type of array. So we are going to name it as array itself. So array is defined as the name of it, the type of it, name of it, and the big bracket, the square bracket, and the number of variables inside it, the number of elements is inside it, followed by semicolon. So we have defined array. Now we are going to print, ask the users to give us the data for this, to give the elements of this array. So we are going to print enter the elements, enter the elements. So now it will be this message will be shown to the user, and now we are going we are how to take the this array from user. For that we have to use loop, because there are multiple data that we have to take. So for I equal to 0 to I is less than n, and increment I plus plus. So inside this for loop, what we will write is scanf. We can take the data now one by one. So scanf for every loop, %d, and where we will put the index of the array will be array, then square bracket, and index number I. We are putting this at the ith element of the array, as the ith element of the array. Now what will happen? We will go outside this for loop. We have now already taken this data. Now we will try to find the largest element. For that, we will define the largest variable has already been declared. We are going to put the value of the first element in this first array 0. Then what we will do, we will start a loop here also for I is equals to 1 to I is less than n, then I plus plus. Now inside this for loop, what we will do, we will define if ith element of the array is greater than this largest value, then largest value will be stored by the value of replaced by the value of ith element of the array. If array I means if the ith element of the array is greater than this variable largest, then what will happen? Then what will happen? Then this largest will be replaced by this array value. We will put in the largest variable value. This will be this way we can find the largest. At last we will be able to find the largest value. So now before ending the main outside this for loop, we can print the largest value finally. So printf inside bracket quotation largest element largest element largest element we can print percent %d because it is an integer type. So largest. Now this way we have completed the program. Just one thing I forgot to mention, return 0. Now I think the program is complete. Let's compile and run. Okay, so so this here. So if we do some mistake while doing the programming or coding, the errors and warnings are being shown here at the bottom. So the compiler shows that what error we have done, and they suggest some also improvement, what improvement we can do. So it is showing that we are writing print instead of printf. So we can do it printf. Now let us run. Now I think it is okay. So enter the number of elements. Suppose we are entering 5 elements and enter the elements. So now I am entering elements. So now we can see I have entered 5 elements 56, 72, 198 and 32, out of which 98 is the largest, and thus it is sorting the things correctly. So this program is complete now. Now the next program is string reversal program. So in a string reversal program, we have to, since we are going to do string operations as well, so not only we have to include this standard input file, but also we have to include we have also have to include string.h string header file string.h, that is also a header file. Now inside the main, we are going to first declare the variable character type of variable string. This is the character type of array of suppose number of elements are 100. We are also going to define character type of variable temp for some temporary use inside the function itself. So now we are going to define integer type of index variables I and j for indexing purpose. Now the next part will be we want to take user input for the string. So we are going to take user input printf, then enter a string. We are going to, since this program is for string reversal, that is why we have to take the string so that we can reverse it. Get s, so it will get the string type of data and store it in str variable. Now the next thing, we want to calculate the length of the string, means how many characters are there in the string. So integer type of length, length variable we are defining, and we are directly calculating a string length. This is also this is also a predefined function already included in the string.h header file. So we are directly using it, string length of str string. Now we are going to reverse the string. So for that purpose, we are using for loop. For I is equals to 0 and j is equals to length minus 1 to I is less than j and I plus plus and j minus minus. For this condition, temp in temp character type variable, we are going to store stri, then stri. In stri, we are going to put the strj value. Strj, then in strj, we are going to put the temp I. Is done. Temp assign. So this is how the swapping is done. In temp, first we will put the value of str. In in stri, we will put the value of strj. Finally, in strj, we will put the value of temp. So thus, the values are being swapped. Now we only have to print the reversed string. So we will use printf reversed string, reversed string, and percent. For a string type of data we use percent s, like for integer we use percent d, and for character percent c we use for percent s for string type of data. And what variable? Str will be printed, should be printed, and at last return 0. Return 0. Now let us run this program. Yes, it is not showing any error. So enter a string like a, like engineers avenue. Engineers avenue. Let's see what it gives. So it is giving the reverse of it. So it is working fine. Now we are going to see the next. Now we have to swap two numbers. First we are going to write the swap function. So the output type of this void swap, then it will take integer type of int star a and int star b, and inside this swap function we will int temp should be equal to star, should be assigned y star a, and star a will be assigned star B star B will be assigned temp. This is the general template for swapping. This is the function for swapping. Now inside the main function we will go and we will define two variables, uh, x and y of integer type. Now we will ask the users to enter the variables. Printf enter two numbers. We are asking users to enter two numbers. Now we will take those input from users. We will use %d because the integer type of data this is. %d again, but separated by space so that we can understand. And where we are putting the first number should be kept in x and the second number should be kept in y. So now we have taken the user input already. Now we will print the original numbers so that users should know that whatever they have given is correct or not. So before swapping x is equals to %d, then y is equals to %d. Okay, it is followed by new line. Then what is %d? For the first %d is x value, the second %d is y value. Now we will swap two numbers. So we have already defined swap function, so we will directly use it. Swap %x and %y. We will swap the position of all these two. Now we will print the swap number. F inside this we will write after swapping we will write x is equals to %d separated by y is equals to %d. Outside this we will write x, we will write y. Now we have to return 0, return null. I think it is completed now. Let us run and see. So it is showing some error. There seems to be an missing semicolon after star B. Let us apply that and let us run it again. Now it is running fine. So enter two numbers. Suppose we are entering 23 and 56. So the first, before swapping it was 23 and 56. After swapping it became 56 and 23. So the swapping has been successful. So the function is, the program is fine, very fine. Management. Student record management. This is our new program. So we will define a structure for a student record. So how to define a structure? Struct student. We are naming it as a student structure name. So inside this structure we are defining integer type of data, which is number roll num. Then we are defining character type of data, char name, and 50 maximum character 50. Then float marks, float type of data marks, floating type of data marks, floating. Now we have defined student, struct student. Now this will be this data type will be, the variable name will be student. The variable name I'm writing is student, STDUD, so that there is no confusion. Now we will take user input for student details. So how to take user input for student details? Let's see. Printf. We will first write on the screen to the user that enter your roll number. Enter roll number. Then what we will do? We will take it. Actually, we will scan it. Scanf. Then where will we store? %d. %d for integer type of data, and where will be stored in student type of thing. A student stud dot. This is how we will recall the data. This is very much important. Roll no. Stud a dot roll number. We have defined this struct, and inside that struct there is a variable name roll number. So how to use that is stud dot roll number. This is very important. You have to remember. The next part. The next part is printf. We have to take another. We have to take name now. Enter name. Enter name. So for taking enter name, what we will do? We will scanf. This time string type of data, because name is a string type of data. So %s for string type of data. Now %, where we will store stud dot, again dot, and name. Means this inside this struct student there is name character. So we are using that. Again semicolon, and again printf. We are taking what we are going to take, how marks, the real number marks. Enter marks ended by semicolon. Then we have to scan it again, but this is floating type of data, so %f will be used. %f. And how to store it? Ampersand stud, then dot what? Stud dot marks, marks. So this is how we recall the variable inside the struct. So we will now we have already taken user input. Next part will be how to print this student details. So to print this student detail, printf. We will print student details. Student details. I think it should be followed by a new line. Then it should let us end this with semicolon. The next part will be print of data one by one. So printing, first we are going to print the roll number. So roll number should be %d followed by new line. And what that %d is? Stud dot roll no, roll number. The next part is print, again print, Control V, Control V. So this time we are going to print name, and name is a string type of data. So %s, then student stud dot name, name. Again the last one will be printf and marks. Marks is a floating type of data, so %f and stud dot marks. At last we have to return 0. Return 0. Now I think the program is complete. So we have to run this. Upon running, enter roll number 45, A, B, C, D. Okay, so this is the problem. Enter marks 67. Now I understood why it is happening. So now the last program of this video will be simple calculator with menu. In this calculator, what will happen is, in this calculator we give options to users like 1 for add, 2 for subtract, 3 for multiply, 4 for divide, and 5 for exit. And user have to choose, and whatever user have will choose, the things will happen accordingly. So in this we will first define the add, subtract, multiply, and divide functions separately. After that we will use that in main function. So first let us start. Before main function, we let us define add function. So void add, this function should be defined as, let us not define like that, it is defined like this: void add, declare the variables in a, b, then what, then semicolon, then ask the users about the variables, printf, enter two numbers, enter two numbers, the user should enter two numbers after this, and let us take those numbers and put somewhere, scanf, then %d space %d, because both are integer type, so %d, and where we'll keep the first, we will keep ampersand in variable a, the second will be kept ampersand variable b. Now we have taken the user input. Now we can do the summation and print. So we will directly write printf. Inside this we will write sum, summation, because two integers when added will give another integer only, and followed by new line. We should always try to write new line. What should be written? A plus b, the value of a plus b should be written in the sum. That is, this way the add function completes. Now we will try to write uh, subtract functions similarly. Control C, Control V. So void subtract, subtract, subtract integer a, integer b, enter two number, and lastly here the difference, and it should be a minus b instead of a plus b. Now this subtract function has also been defined. Now multiply function should be, so multiply here, multiply, how is it defined? Enter two numbers, %d, and lastly product %d, and a multiplied by b, and lastly we will write the function for division. So how is it written? We will write divide, divide function, divide, divide. We will take integers and put in a and b. Now we will check for a 0, because if the second integer is 0, we cannot divide it by 0. We cannot divide any integer by 0, any number by 0. For that, checking that purpose, we will write if the second number, the divisor, is not equal to 0, then only we can write this printf, printf quotient is equals to %d, where it should be A divided by B. If it is not satisfied, means in other case, if B is equal to 0, else what should be done? It should print an error message. If the B is equal to 0, it should print an error message because it cannot be divided, any number cannot be divided by 0. So division by 0 error. This should be the warning error message. Now we have already defined the add, subtract, multiply and divide functions. Now we can go inside the main function and write the main function accordingly. So what we will write inside the main function, we will define an integer variable name choice. So now we will use while, because we are choosing out of 5 different options, so we can use one while one. What we can write is while one, we can write printf calculator menu. We will show these options: calculator menu. Calculator menu will be shown to them, the users. What after next? We will print f1, sorry, 1 dot add. This is option 1 that we are going to show them. Similarly, we will show other options accordingly. So I am going to just copy this, Control V, enter, Control V, enter, Control V, enter, Control V. So the second option will be subtract, and it will be not 1 but 2. Third option will be multiply, multiply. Fourth option will be divide, divide, divide. The last fifth option will be exit. If the user want to exit out of the program, exit. Then we will write enter your choice. So we will ask the users to enter their choice. So printf bracket double quotation, enter your choice, then semicolon, of course, semicolon. Then we will scan the value whatever the choice the user is giving. So suppose user is giving, he should give some, he or she should give some integer value that will be %d and will be stored in the value of choice. That variable we have already defined earlier, declared we have. Now the switch option will be used. So how to use switch, we have understood through one example earlier. Switch, SWITCH, switch. Now inside the switch, what is the variable? The choice is the variable. And now how it will vary? It will vary like this. Case 1, in case 1, if the case is 1, what will happen? Add. Now it is very easy to use because everything has been defined earlier. Then break, BREAK, break. Then case 2, similarly and subtract, subtract, then break again, BREAK, break again, then case 3, multiply, multiply, then again break, BREAK, then case 4, maybe the case 4 is there. If the case 4 is the case, then divide, and if it is the case, then we have to break. Otherwise, the case is case 5, and in this case, we have to return 0, return 0, means nothing, we have to exit. There may be default case, and that default case will print the error or something, whatever. Let us see what can we print. So we should print invalid choice, because the choice is not what was given the option. So invalid choice, and it should be treated as like this, followed by a new line. Now this is complete. So this followed by this, followed by this. I think now the simple calculator with menu has been completed. Let us just run and check. Upon running, we can see that it is coming like this. The output file: calculator menu, add, subtract, multiply, divide, and exit. So entering my choice. Let us suppose I am entering 6, which is not in their option. So it is showing invalid choice, right? So it is right. So enter my choice, enter your choice. So I'm suppose entering for multiplication, suppose 3. So it should multiply two numbers, enter two numbers, suppose 24 or 25, and the second number suppose 5. So it should give 125. So it is giving product 125. So it is okay. Now the fifth of, if I will press 5, it should exit. So 5, enter, and it has exited now, as you can see. So the simple calculator with menu has now been completed. I hope you guys have liked this video. If you have liked this, you can share, like, and subscribe. Thank you very much.